Engage!
The man managed to save his son just in time. Although the driver swerved immediately, the oil tank on the truck broke loose from the momentum and rolled straight toward his daughter. When Louis rushed over to check, his daughter Ellie was already dead. Just a week earlier, Louis and his family had moved to this small town, hoping for a happy life, but a series of strange incidents began to unfold. The next day, Louis went to work at the hospital as usual, while his wife and daughter stayed home to clean. Suddenly, they heard sounds in the distance. Following the noise, they saw a group of children pushing animal corpses toward the mountain behind their house. Driven by curiosity, Ellie wandered up to the Pet Sematary on the hillside. She discovered numerous gravestones scattered throughout the area. As she stood there puzzled, a path blocked by a pile of debris caught her attention. Just as she was about to climb over it, an old man suddenly stopped her. The old man's name was Judd. He was their neighbor. He told Ellie about the Pet Sematary. They'd barely talked for a few minutes when Rachel suddenly showed up at the cemetery and took her daughter away. Meanwhile, an emergency came up at the hospital. A boy had been in a car accident. Despite Louis's best efforts to save him, the boy died. Louis wanted a moment to collect himself, but then the lights in the room started flickering. When he turned around, the boy was sitting up in a disturbing way. A colleague snapped him out of it just in time. When he looked at the bed again, he realized he'd been hallucinating. But that very morning, something strange happened again. Judd brought Louis to the roadside, and after confirming, Louis discovered the dead cat was his daughter's beloved pet, Church. This scene left Louis at a loss. Not wanting his daughter to be heartbroken, he and Judd decided to secretly bury the cat. That night, the two men brought their tools to the Pet Sematary. As Louis was digging, Judd asked him a question.
Ellie really loved that cat, didn't she? More than anything. And you love Ellie? Of course.
As soon as he finished speaking, Judd led Louis over the debris pile. They crossed a stream littered with bones, then arrived at the foot of a mountain. The two climbed the stairs to the summit, where Judd signaled Louis to bury the cat right there. But the very next morning, Louis discovered cat prints on the floor. Following the prints, he came to a closet. When he opened it, he was horrified to find the cat was alive. With questions racing through his mind, he went to Judd's house. He learned that the burial ground on the mountaintop could bring any dead creature back to life, but Judd warned him seriously that anything brought back would become extremely violent. After learning this, Louis returned home determined to put the cat down, but when he looked into the cat's eyes, he couldn't go through with it. Instead, he drove out to the countryside and left the cat somewhere far from home. What he didn't know was that this very decision would indirectly lead to the death of his beloved daughter.